We're on. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Kerry Passion for DS Sports as always, and here we've got a few guests on with me. We're going to talk through a wee bit about the current SPFL vote and what has happened. We're going to talk through a couple of talking points as well. We've got Sean Davidson, give us a wave, Sean. Cammy Hall, give us a wave. We've got Lewis Fraser, and we've got Don Eisen at the bottom there. A few of us we all went to uni together, good pals, so all fairly know what they're talking about. So we'll offer some good opinions when we can.
We'll find that out.
So, like I say, going through the SPFL vote, there's a few things that have happened recently, and we'll try and gather as many talking points as we can. So first of all, just explaining the vote, all the SPFL clubs, all 42 clubs in the SPFL went to a vote. The proposal was to end the lower leagues from Championship, League 1 and League 2. And from there, positions would be final, teams would be promoted and relegated as normal without any playoffs. So we'll go through the details about who went up and who went down in a moment. First of all, do you guys think there was any alternatives to the vote? Was there anything the clubs could have done or anything the SPFL could have done to potentially, make this a bit easier, because it has kind of worked out a wee bit, messy, some might think, and it's a wee bit of a shambles, some would say as well. So anyone wishing to offer any alternatives that we could have had? Was it too early for a start? Could we have called it a wee bit?
I think they called it way, way too early, because the UEFA meeting's not till Tuesday, and you should really just go off the basis of that. Like, the lower leagues don't need to know straight away, do you know what I mean? Like, it's still in lockdown, so yeah. I think they have called it. I understand why they've done it, because it sort of gives clarity and stuff like that, but for me anyway, I think it's just far, far too early. And then if you look at clubs like Inverness and stuff like that, like playoff places, it's not great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. I think there should have been more discussion as well before the vote took place. There didn't seem to be that much clarity about what a lot of them were voting for. It seemed to be rushed through. And I think with Dundee too, I think they knew what they were voting for before, after the vote happened. They knew the consequences of their vote, and that was a position that other clubs didn't get. So I think that in itself is not like equality within the vote. That should have been sort of discarded, in my view. That should never have happened, that position.
Yeah, I agree with Cammy. Like, I don't see what the rush was at all. We've no idea when we're going to be able to play football again, so it might be November, it might be like in a year's time when, if you're not allowing 50,000 people to be in the same place together, like, what's the point in calling this season right now when we've no idea if we're going to start next season when it's meant to start? So yeah, I don't see what the rush was, to be honest. And if it's about getting money to clubs, then I think there's got to be a way around doing that, rather than having to call league positions as they are.
I think the main problem with the whole thing was, to be honest with you, the way the SPFL sold it to all the clubs was they wouldn't be able to get any money until they voted through the resolution, when actually it appears, from what's been said now, is they could have got a loan supported up on the basis of their league position at the moment, so which means they could have then got the money back later on. So I think they were sold something that they didn't really know what they were voting for in the end.
It feels like that will push it through.
I think that's what's really happened. I think Rangers have kind of gone to town on what's really looking at what's happened. But in terms of the vote, I think that they sold it as a premise of getting the money to the lower league clubs.
Yeah. They were almost held to ransom, you could claim.
Because
they weren't told. I don't think everybody's been told exactly what they were getting into. I think there's been a lot of misinformation provided, and people have voted on the back of it. In terms of the actual vote itself, the fact that a club has been able to look at the voting stats and then hold the SPFL to almost to ransom to get what they may or may not want off the back of it. That's like the general election, and like results being announced at 5 p.m. and the vote closed at 10. It's just
that should never happen a million years. That was so out of order by the SPFL, I would say.
Yeah.
But like I would say, there's only really been, I would say, like 3 clubs have been absolutely shafted. Obviously, Falkirk and Partick are the 2 huge ones, and Hearts to a lesser extent, the ones that have been absolutely shafted by it.
What?
I feel bad for Partick. Partick are like bottom of the championship, 2 points behind Queen of the South, a game in hand. Like, that's brutal. And if they do then stick to it, and then
who they've got a good record against.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
It is also worth pointing out that in addition to the lower leagues being finished, the SPFL, in this vote, the SPFL, the vote has also declared that if the Premiership could not restart under the current conditions, and if it would take a bit longer, I think there is maybe a deadline in place for games to be played, or certainly the season to be started, then the SPFL Premiership season would also finish. But like you said before, like what Cammy said before, UEFA you mentioned UEFA there, they've come out and said that they want all the country's top leagues to be finished, and so that European places can be given out in that respect, because not finishing the season would mean potentially not getting those spots.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think it's all well and good UEFA going, well, you need to finish your league, but then at the same time, the season starts back up at September. So to then go, well, then you need to finalise it so it's ready for September. But then at the same time, like what I said, like, we might not be playing football in September. It depends what goes on with this coronavirus. Like,
yeah. I think
the tennis is doing it makes sense, but then at the same time, like, what, there is no, like, nobody has an answer for it. So you can put all the plans in place, but then all the plans might go to pot because you don't know what's actually happening. So I think
the government can turn around and say no.
I think football is going to be one of the last things that comes back, to be honest with you. Like,
no, I agree. Well, I would agree with that, but certainly fans in the ground, absolutely.
mm-hmm. And you could say, like, you're opening it up to just lower leagues, but as soon as a team like take Stirling Albion, for example, they've got a capacity of a few thousand in their ground. Like, every single local person is going to want to go to that because they've not seen a football match in 6 months,
especially
whether they've had any interest at all. So
yeah, and football's hardly a priority currently. It's sad to say, but it's not a priority. And
no, it's not.
I think it could be almost 2021 before we see top league football again across the world. I wouldn't be at all surprised about that.
Yeah. I think that's the disappointment of things, to be honest with you, the way that it's been handled, is the fact that at the moment football really isn't a priority, but it seems to be this vote has made it in Scotland almost a laughingstock and a priority in Scotland, which has been poor, to be honest with you. And I think you're right with the whole football. I think you might see football back August, September time, but I don't think you'll see fans until 2021.
No,
because there's no way you can get all those fans in a ground. And like Lewis said, as soon as a game's opened up in the lower leagues, people haven't seen live football in such a long time, they'll just flock towards it.
I mean, we'll go to it, I'm sure. People like us would flock to these grounds, and that would probably double their attendances.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, well, think about European football. It's the same in other sports. You can't have a team travelling to Spain, to Italy, to the UK, to play a European football match at the moment because every country is at a different stage in the pandemic.
Yeah.
So you can't say for certainty, that's going to be safe to do so. It's the same with other sports. Golf. There's no way you can have people from different countries travelling to our country to play in the golf at the moment on the tour. I don't think you'll see that in 2021 either. It's just the way things are at the moment.
It's just too much. Well, you cannot have football back when there's still risk. When the death tolls, until it's like almost minimal, you can't even think about getting these back, I don't think.
I agree. Yeah.
So
you wonder what then happens with, like, on a bigger picture then, like Champions League and stuff like that. Like, obviously, was it no Valencia that went across to Italy and played and things and stuff like that, like, and played it behind closed doors? I'm sure it was Italy. But you wonder if maybe, like, the Champions League maybe just has to take a year where there is no Champions League, depending obviously on how bad it is. But if you're not going to be able to get the league season finished, and I think, like, the whole thing with, like, Celtic and it being 9 in a row, like, it's going to taint the title for them. Like, you can already hear the Rangers fans going 8.5 in a row. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose, like, it is like you've not finished the season, so you've not won it outright. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously nobody can control it, but you wouldn't call a race after like a 100-metre sprint after 75 metres. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, heard that one. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think with these times you need to sort of take a different viewpoint, and like down south, Liverpool, we're not going to lose that league in a million years. So for me, that can't be tainted.
Yeah, but up here's completely different though, because you've got Rangers with 2 Old Firm matches to come, plus a game in hand, so it cuts it down to 3 points, and all it takes from then is like Celtic. But you could sit and debate that all day. I just think they called the Lowland Leagues far too early, because obviously we're on another 3
That was very early. Yeah, that was very early.
And I understand their whole thinking about it to keep the clubs like
clarity and stuff,
money and wages and stuff. But at the same time, the way they went about it, it was a bit like, take this or you're going to like fade away and sort of.
Although you're saying with the financial argument, the Forfar were only due $4,000, $4.5 grand. That was all.
Yeah, it was
not even that.
Was in the initial statement. Yeah.
And I mean, that is, even for Forfar, it's not a lot of money, I would wager.
Yeah. It will pretty much pay off, because as far as I'm aware, the staff are furloughed at the club. So all playing staff, all non-playing staff have been furloughed by the club. So it's probably paying the extra 20%. Like, that, from the furlough scheme being 80%, that's probably barely maybe paying the 20%. But, it's kind of how it is at the moment. Every club's got their struggles at the moment. And, yeah, it's like you say. And then it's difficult, and it's also it's difficult. We've always talked about fans being back in the grounds. It is a problem because we can't. It's almost, dare I say, it's nearly impossible to play games up here behind closed doors, because that's almost going to potentially put clubs into even further financial debt. You know what I mean? Like, having match day income even from behind closed doors games, and you've got to pay the players full. The right players.
I just think even behind closed doors, like, you can go, even if the SFA tournament went right, top tier clubs will play out the rest of the season. You've still got 22 players on the pitch, 5 on the bench, and then all of the physios, all of like the backroom staff. You know what I mean? So you've still got like a substantial number of folk. Like, and the thing is you've not really got the liberty like having tests or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, to test folk. So it's a bit. I think it's just a bit. To try and play out the season behind closed doors, I just think realistically, like, you're not going to be able to do it. Plus, the TV companies are going to want to like make money off that, because they've obviously lost money. Like, that's the big thing about the 2. It's the deal for 4 Old Firms, and they've only had 2 and stuff like that. Like, so they're going to have to want to video that. So that means there's more staff there, and then it just like sort of like snowballs. You know what I mean? From like 22 players on a coach to like maybe 100, 150, 200, and like, you know what I mean? So I just think like to try and play it behind closed doors, it would just be like unrealistic. Like, at this point.
I saw today that it costs £300 per test, and where would that even be funded from? There's no way that money can be funded every week.
So that's like 22 times 300.
Yeah, it's a
because he knows what he's talking about.
No, it's like over 6.5 grand.
And I mean, that's like 1.5 times Forfar's last payment for like reference to a lower league club. So that'd be a fortune.
It's crazy. I think like obviously in terms of that, it wouldn't be the lower. I didn't think you'd expect the lower league clubs to do it, but like obviously if UEFA are going to be like try and enforce that the league finishes, they're going to try and do that. But then again, you could say like obviously Rangers are still in the Europa League. So obviously they had a tough tie with
that's a very good point, obviously.
Leverkusen, so they get money off that as well. But I just think, I think everybody's in the same boat, as that nobody's got any income at the moment. But then at the same time, there is no real way to make any sort of income. Do you know what I mean? That we can't go anywhere as fans, players can't go anywhere either, even though some of them are doing it, like down south and stuff. But I just think
players, like a lot of them are out of contract as of like next month, and teams will not trying to recruit at this time of year. Very few are like signing players. So even for them, it's a struggle too financially, I would say.
Yeah.
I think this transfer window will be interesting. Like to see what happens, because there was talk that they were going to there was.
Oh, can we maybe lose
Cammy's away.
Oh dear, just like the Hearts.
I hope your editing skills are good, Patty.
So before we move on, we'll move on to the next point in just a second. But, first of all,
Just extend the contract that expired.
Oh, he's back.
We kind of missed that, to be honest. I'm sure it was really interesting.
So, right, before we move it on, I noticed that Sean and Lewis, you've been a bit quiet on this. Been a bit quiet. We let Cammy and Don chat for a wee bit, myself as well, of course. So, Sean, any last points from you?
Sorry, I didn't hear if you're asking me or Sean, but I'll go.
No, we'll get Sean after.
The Forfar chairman was on Sports Sound last week, and I think it was Don saying like players being out of contract. I think he said Stranraer, all of their team will be out of contract at the end of the season. So just trying to play.
That's
obviously
the thing as well, eh?
Yeah.
I'm sure
they won't be the only one. So trying to play, obviously they're not going to be able to play a game because they've got no players. So stuff like that. But yeah, that's the worries, to be honest.
Pre-contracts, I've only seen like one, that was Alan Forrest. There's usually like heaps of time of year get through the sort of system and stuff, but it's just different days, I suppose, and different sort of strategies because of what's happened.
Sean, any last points from you?
I think it's just the measures that clubs have actually taken to try and sustain themselves has been, some of them have been quite monumental. I mean, you've seen, Livingston, I think they've issued a share, so you have to pay £20 a month until 2021, May 2021, to then get a share in Livingston. I think that's over £7,000 a month. They've taken that. Airdrie have not sacked, part of the company with Colin Cameron, the assistant manager.
Right, okay.
Come on.
To cost cut that's what they've done. Stenhouse Muir as well. Stenhouse Muir have asked bigger clubs in the Premier League to take a cut and then filter it through the lower league. Now, to be honest with you, if you're asking a club like Livingston, or you're asking a club like Hamilton, or a club like St Mirren to take a cut on what they get in the year to sustain lower league, they can't do that either because they can't sustain it themselves. And they've also, they've done some sort of auction as well to play with the team in a match day. Now I think they must do that on a weekly basis because they're not very good. So, but to be honest with you, there's other things like Elgin. I think Elgin are going to struggle. Elgin have asked their players to take a 67% wage cut. They're obviously struggling with that. And then, all the teams are furloughing players, all furloughing staff. And there's not many positive stories coming out at the minute, and I think we need to more clarity from the SPFL, in all honesty, about the way that teams are going to get paid and how it's going to get paid back, etc. If there's a loan scheme in place, they've been given the wrong information for the vote, and therefore there's an argument to be said there for what Rangers and that are saying. I stand by what Cammy said earlier. I feel sorry for Partick Thistle. Out of all the three teams that have been relegated, and I don't believe the teams should have been relegated, Partick Thistle have been the most hard done by. Right, the average points per game was 0.96, and they were 2 points behind with a game in hand over the team in ninth. I think it was Alloa. Right now, Partick Thistle, new manager, a lot of different players since January. Probably would have fancied their chances. I think it was a home game as well. Would have fancied their chances to then go and win that game and get themselves off the bottom. Hearts and Ra, yeah. There's an argument the season's not done, and I still would have seen Hearts get themselves out of it, and I would probably would have done so. But
didn't you shake your head?
Aye, Don's shaking his head.
I see you sitting there shaking.
No way of knowing.
In the poorest team,
I would have said Hearts and Stranraer. Hearts go out of it. Stranraer wouldn't, but Hearts and Stranraer can't. It's argued as much as Partick Thistle due to the fact that Hearts have won 4 games all season. They got themselves in that position at the start anyway. Stranraer were never going to catch Forfar. They're about 8 points behind. But Partick Thistle were 2 points behind with a game in hand. You've got to look at that and go, they've been hard done by there.
You say that, though. I get what you're saying, but like there's literally no way of knowing unless you play the games. Like, see if a team needs like one more draw to win the league with 6 or however many games to go. Like, there's no way of knowing that they're going to get that. Like,
I would say to Lewis,
I don't think you can.
Only a game short because of Cali reaching, I think, the cup final for the Challenge Cup. If they hadn't reached that, they would have had the game played as well. Advantage.
Well, we did, so.
So they played less games, so it's not really a fair comparison.
Yeah, you're right.
I think.
Well, take for example St Johnstone, right? And as delighted as I am that this is probably going to benefit St Johnstone and get them in the top 6, right? There's no way St Johnstone would have gone to Ibrox and got their average 1.2 points at Ibrox to get them above Hibs. There's not a chance that would happen. And to get them to top 6 above Hibs, there's not a chance.
Sean, what's Hearts' point average per game?
0.01.
Come on!